Hello everyone, it is Joe here from Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon, and today we're looking at Decidueye Ninetales. It's an archetype that popped up in Japan, seen a little bit of play, and has started to get hyped for a number of reasons in the new standard format for us. Ninetales has some nice coverage in terms of typing, so we're much less weak to Volcanion, gives us great snipe potential around the entire board, so it's an archetype that I've really enjoyed playing around with, and I think it is definitely one to pursue in the format. I'm actually going to be showing off two lists today. There's going to be a straight list that you can see in front of you, and also a build that tries to incorporate Ninetales as well as keep Vileplume in the deck. That one's a little bit tighter, but I'll go through my decision making with both lists very shortly. So, first of all, we have the full 444 Decidueye line. Because this is the straight build, you want to pretty much just out-damage people. And the way we're going to do that is via getting many of these out into play and abusing its amazing ability Feather Arrow. Once during a turn you may put 2 counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. They're very flexible, we can pile it all onto the active, we can spread it around the board. You'll notice that we do have the Espeon EX in here to try and devolve Pokemon. And we need that in here for certain matchups. So sometimes placing a certain amount of counters on different Pokemon, or lots of different Pokemon, you can pretty much sweep the board all in one turn with the Espeon. So it really is flexible. It's up to you what you want to try and target. Very, very nice ability. He also has 2 attacks. The first is Razor Leaf for Grass DCE. Just does a base of 90, which is very decent. It's really supplemented by the ability that makes it powerful. It is a good option for us. And we also have Hollow Hunt GX. It allows us to put 3 cards from our discard pile straight back into the hand for a single Grass energy. Now, unlike previous Decidueye lists where you will always go for this, it is much less focused on Hollow Hunt. In certain matchups you will Hollow Hunt for certain, but in other matchups we will cash in on the Ninetales, which I'll get into in a moment. So this guy is still, you know, a huge aspect of the deck. Getting a free like 60 damage every single turn without even attacking buffs pretty much every attacker in the deck, including itself. So we will use this guy to set up as many as possible and try and beat down the opponent. That's pretty much how the new deck functions. Next up we have the 2-2 line of Alolan Ninetales. First of all, one of the main reasons why we want to play Ninetales in the first place is because of Alolan Vulpix. Beacon for 0 energy attack cost allows you to search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand. This is amazingly helpful if you go second with a deck. It means you can guarantee a Ninetales for turn 2, if you expect your Vulpix to tank a hit or not get hit at all on your opponent's turn. Or you can simply go, okay, I'll just grab Dartrix Decidueye or Rowlett Dartrix and just start building up the board really strong. It means that even if you have a completely dead hand, you can find yourself Lele Shaymin or a combination of any of these cards. Really nice, fantastic attack, forces a 7 prize game as well at times. So using Beacon is a huge reason why the deck functions, and functions well. When you are playing the Alolan Ninetales build of Decidueye, I believe you are slightly favoured in the mirror match, be it versus a Plume version or not, because you have Beacon on your side. Beacon being able to search out all these Pokemon means that you're more likely going to have more Decidueye in play than your opponent, and oftentimes that is the difference in how to win the matchup, outside of like Lysandre stalling and then just having the Ninetales to ping things off. Ninetales is also a really integral part of the deck. You have 210 HP, which is very tanky. It has 2 attacks that we are abusing out of the 3, because we are not playing Water Energy, so Blizzard Edge is not an option. We just use the 2 attacks that cost Double Colorless energy. Ice Blade allows us to do 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, either active or bench. Bearing in mind no weakness or resistance on the bench, but the fact that this guy can hit 100 against Volcanions is really important. They can, of course, steam up and get a big one-hit KO on us in response, but oftentimes if we have double Decidueye out, we can ping it twice, hit it with Ice Blade for 140, then ping it 2 more times the next turn, and keep up in the game. We still have Lele to fall back on as well, which can also deal around the 100 base mark against Volk. So I feel fairly content in the matchup. I do feel like if you want to beat Volk more consistently, the Vileplume variant is the way to go. But Ninetales in here nonetheless does serve as great type coverage. The Ice Path GX in a lot of matchups is going to be the GX attack you do go for. It allows us to move all damage counters from the active onto our opponent's active Pokemon. So Ninetales gets fully healed, and in the meantime we're dealing probably like half damage onto the opponent depending on how they try and play around Ninetales. Sometimes they're going to try and like Sky Return with Choice Band, deal like 60, and hope to finish it off the following turn. In those cases, we probably won't Ice Path, we'll just wait to use a second Ninetales or to use a Decidueye. But basically, what Ninetales does is it slows the opponent down. If they can't get a one-hit KO, they have to two-shot this guy, and they have to do the annoying two-shot, where they're trying to just do a little poke early on, because otherwise Ice Path will wreck them. So slowing the opponent down is fantastic, because any turn you gain is a free like 60 to 100 damage based on abilities plus attacks. And slowing the opponent down is just so good for Decidueye, because the longer a game progresses, the more in favour it becomes for Decidueye. So Ninetales just being an annoying wall in the active is going to be fantastic. It's similar to how we've seen like Regice, Glaceon, Jolteon all fit into decks with Rainbow Energy with Decidueye, because they're trying to slow the opponent down and be awkward, and Ninetales does exactly the same thing, which is very good for the deck. Then we have the supporting members. I've already mentioned Espeon EX. I believe this is a really important one-of in this build. Because we're not playing Plume to slow things down, there are a lot of evolution decks that we need to catch up on. The mirror match, of course, is going to be huge. Miraculous Shine is amazing for that. We have Gardevoir decks. One great thing is Trubbish has a 70 HP, which is one Ice Blade plus one Feather Arrow away from being KO'd. So we can set a bunch up and then Miraculous Shine them all into the discard pile if need be. Alternatively, we can simply ping off these things really early. When they're still Trubbishes, we can just Ice Blade ping. Similarly, we can do it in mirror matches on Rowletts and stuff like that. So Ninetales provides really good early pressure to the bench, which is really cool. Miraculous Shine as well, I think, is integral for beating Sylveon. Because we play only 7 energy in here, it's quite easy for Sylveon to remove it all. We do have Special Charge, and of course we can Hollow Hunt back not only energy but also Special Charge in this deck, which gives you an out to Sylveon. But at the same time, if we just set up enough Decidueyes, we can constantly be threatening Espeon EX to come down and deal with, you know, 2 Sylveons with 60 HP on 60 damage on them, clear them both off the board, and they're really set back by this, in my opinion. So Espeon EX is really awesome in the deck for those sorts of matchups, and there's a few other evolution decks out there. There's even straight Ninetales, there's Greninja as well. So all these things come in super handy. I think you should already be strong against Greninja, I may add, but at the same time, this never hurts you, really. Then we have Tapu Lele GX for a bit of consistency. The Wonder Tag is, of course, a fantastic ability, allowing us to search the deck for a supporter when you bench him. It's really helpful for getting Lysandres, Ends, Sycamores. Those are the 3 that we play. It's all we really need, so we're going to spam them and get them consistently. At the same time, Energy Drive is a phenomenal option. Doing 20 times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon is going to be really huge for you. This is oftentimes also a go-to attacker. We also have 2 Shaymin EX as well for the setup ability, and also Sky Return is an option. Pretty standard stuff. I've cut down from the 3 count that you see in the Vileplume lists, because bench space is more premium now that we have to put a Vulpix in the mix at some points as well. So I'm happy with the 2-2 split of these guys, still pretty consistent from my own testing so far. So, onto the items. We are playing 1 Field Blower. This is going to help get rid of tools. Of course, Floatstones on the Garbotoxin Gardevoir would otherwise be an issue. We are very reliant on damage via our snipes, so Field Blower is going to be important there, as well as getting rid of other annoying stadium cards. Things like Parallel City can be annoying for reducing our damage or our bench, because both things are premium in the deck. So yeah. Even things like Silent Lab, if they happen to have that turn 1, it means we have 5 outs to move Lab turn 1 and get going. So that is going to be pretty cool. We have 1 Rescue Stretcher and 1 Revitaliser, slightly different from the typical 2 Revitalizers that we've seen in the Plume lists. Pretty simple. We're playing multiple types of Pokemon now. So sometimes you want to recycle your Ninetales or your Vulpix or Lele. Getting things like Lele or Shaymin straight to hand can be really nice in the late game situations as well, to finish off our opponent, help us dig for more cards. Maybe Lele guarantees Lysandre, or Shaymin digs for like VS Seeker to win the game, for example. So Stretcher is good in terms of getting multiple things, as well as just finishing off games with Lele and Shaymin. I've even been considering playing 1 Revitaliser, 1 Stretcher, even in the Plume list. Even straight Decidueye Plume without Ninetales, because this card is really impressive and can get back more Pokemon than Revitaliser as well at times if you want to go down that route. We're also playing 1 Special Charge. I've already mentioned Sylveon. I think the main reason is for Sylveon. Also, Drampa is a big card. Drampa Garb. We are very focused on double colorless energy in the deck. You may notice Ninetales is all double colorless, Lele double colorless, Decidueye needs DCE, and so does Shaymin. So Drampa is going to be annoying. The good thing about Drampa is its damage is really pitiful against us. Dealing 20 to the active or 50 with Choice Band, not going to be a problem at all. And their second attack, if you don't play into it, is only doing 80 or 110 with the Choice Band. The way I say don't play into it is if you don't start sniping their bench. Of course, they can go for their own Magma base to try and put damage on their own bench Pokemon. But against Decidueye, that is sometimes a really risky strategy because you're feeding us free damage. And that is really just beneficial for us because we can start pinging and sniping the bench instead. So Drampa I don't feel is a huge problem. But in terms of having enough resources to get through the game, I think Special Charge is important. Especially because against Drampa Garb, you want to Ice Path. Like, it's much better to Ice Path than it is to Hollow Hunt because we lose too much damage in the turns. And you also want to be Ice Blading Trubbishes as much as possible because we play a lot of trainers in here. And Gardevoir does get powerful. So if ever it does start coming out into play, it's going to be an issue. So trying to deal with the Trubbishes as quickly as possible is going to be great. So I like having a Special Charge in here. Mainly for Sylveon and for Drampa lists. Those are the reasons why I like fitting in a Special Charge. Of course, we're not playing Plume, so we have access to our items the majority of the game. Or, like, all game, as long as we're not against Varplume. So, pretty cool option for the deck. We're having the same shell as Decidueye Plume in terms of consistency cards. We're going to play the 3-level ball, the 4 male, and the 4 ultra ball, of course. And we're able to sneak in 2 VS Seekers into the list. I feel like, because we will Hollow Hunt a lot of the time, there are certain games when you can get away with not Ice Pathing. I feel like 2 VS Seeker is enough a lot of the time to just get access to our Lysandres and Sycamores and stuff. It's a bit of added consistency in the long game vis-a-vis the Plume list, which is pretty cool. Because we can access the bench so frequently with Snipes and Ice Blade anyway, I don't feel like playing any more VS Seeker is worthwhile. But yeah, this is a nice consistency bonus to the deck that we gain by taking the slots out for Varplume, which is pretty cool. We then have for Forest, of course, it's an integral part to spam the Decidueyes as quickly as possible. And then the standard counts of 2 Lysandre, 3N, much more common now that we have Double Lele rather than previous 4 counts. And Professor Sycamore as well, still super important. And again, very simple standard counts for the Floatstone as a 2 of, and the 4 DCE and 3 Grass, all pretty standard, similar to previous Decidueye lists. Why am I playing Grass over Rainbow? Rainbow does give us access to Tapu Cure, as well as Psyshock, and also Blizzard Edge, but it's, as I mentioned earlier, Drampa is the biggest pain for this deck. Well, one of the biggest pains for the deck, so I don't want to play into that more than I have to. Playing the Rainbows does give you access to a few cards like Sableye. If you're trying to stall and just start pinging the bench, that could be an option. But overall, I feel sticking away from the Rainbow build is how I want to play the deck. Tapu Koko is going to be... Whoops. The new Tapu Koko promo is a card that you might want to put into the list. It does 20 to each of your opponent's benched. Oh no, sorry, to all their Pokemon, which is even better. And it has free retreat, which is really notable. The reason I'm not playing it in here right now is because bench space is so tight that I don't feel like you have the space for it. But otherwise, this card is really good. Again, things like mirror matches where you're just getting this extra swing of a big lot of damage all over the board is going to be really good for you. And it does set up Espeon EX a lot quicker. So potentially that could be a one-off for you. Also, Drampa. You could play yourself a Drampa. Righteous Edge is going to be nice for things like mirror matches and other Drampa lists. And Berserk is still an option for you. When you have like Decidueye's naturally tanking hits, Berserk gets into big damage. And you even have Big Will if you really are stuck on turn 1 and you have nothing else to do. Right now, I don't feel like Drampa's the strongest option. But Tauros GX has been one that's been flirted with. I will never be playing Lugia in these decks now that we have Tapu Lele. I feel like it fills the role perfectly. I really rarely miss Deep Hurricane. And the things you gain from Lele are too strong. So I won't be considering Lugia, but Tauros is the other DCE attacker that you can consider in here. I feel like oftentimes Ice Path is going to be as good, if not better, than Mad Bull, and it's you get the benefit of Vulpix, so I'm happier with this rather than just the straight build. In terms of items, there's only a few things I'd consider. Because we're playing the non-plume list, it's actually not unreasonable to play Hex for the mirror, and also you can Hex Volk players so they can't one-hit KO through Ninetales. Basically, if you do Hex them, they just Lysandre instead, which is kind of okay. So yeah, that's the reason I'm not playing Hex in here. It's also not a speed card, and I think we're already quite greedy with how our list is looking. Maybe we have to like cut up down to one VS Seeker to fit in one Hex. Doesn't sound fantastic, so that's why I'm not going for it, but it could be an option for you. And the other card that I really want to sneak into the deck is Choice Band. Again, we're not playing Item Lock, so Choice Band becomes amazing. Ice Blading for 80 onto the active is really good. That's 160 against Volk players as well, so it really does improve the matchup for you. Additionally, it means that Lele gets stronger, and even just Sky Returning. Sky Return for 60 plus like double snipe is 100 to the active if you want it to be. And that's just mind-boggling how strong Sky Return becomes. So I'm even considering just testing out a straight Decidueye, which is literally like 4 Shaymin, 3 Lele, and then just Decidueye pieces. Like a super consistent build, but then has like 3 or 4 Choice Band. And just try and like Sky Return loop people. Because that sounds like really ridiculous how impactful Choice Band's numbers can be for the deck. Again, the reason I'm not a speed card... we want to have float stones on our Decidueye rather than Choice Bands, so yeah, I think it would only really fit on like Lele, Shaymin, Ninetales. Those are valid targets to put on, so maybe I'd test out like 1 and see how much I like it, but at the same time a 1 count isn't too impactful. You won't see it too often, so I feel like if you want to go down the Choice Band route, you probably need 2 to 3 to make it worth it, and right now I'm not happy with the slots I'd have to cut for those cards. So yeah, that is going to be the straight Decidueye list. I also have been testing out the plume variant a bit as well. I won't talk about every single change in here, but notably I've cut to 3 Decidueye because we need to have just more spaces for the plume. We have also recut the special charge because of course we can't play it. What are the other cuts that we've made? There's a couple other item cards, I think. We're not playing the Field Blower in this list because our intention is to simply Ice Blade if they ever get a Gardevoir out. And, you know, it's a lot less likely for them to get Floatstone developed during the game if we just get Plume up. So those are 3 slots. I can't remember where my other slot is. Espeon, yeah, so that's 4 slots. I think those are the differences. Oh, and the 2 VS Seekers. So yeah, those are the 6 slots for the Plume. But yeah, this is also definitely a consideration. Somewhat clunkier. Definitely worse against Sylveon. But potentially better against the field just because you still have the derpy wins because Vileplume got set up and your opponent can't do anything. So it's going to be interesting. It depends really what meta you're expecting in terms of matchups to be worried about. Right now, I'm happy with a non-plume build because I've not been punished for playing no plume. I've been testing it IRL as well as online, and it's been doing quite well for me. So we will try and find the correct list and get a few games online here and see if this deck can be defeated. A lot of people are in limbo with Decidueye. There was recently a tournament in Milan where it wasn't even like the 4th most popular deck, I don't think. And I think this is still definitely a top tier archetype, and the introduction of Ninetales helps out a lot, I feel. It improves your Gardevoir matchup compared to the straight build, and it just does a lot for the deck. The search from Vulpix is really strong, so I feel like this is the way that Decidueye will adapt to the new format. And also it's less scared to get against Volk, which was previously like the one reason you don't want to play the deck, other than maybe like Quad Lapras, which I mean, we have Sylveon, but Sylveon's much easier to beat than Quad Lapras because we have the Espeon. So yeah, let's stop talking and start battling. We do lose the flip, so our goal is to try and get Vulpix in the active this turn for us when we go second. One notable thing about the list that is if you play no plume, you are exactly identical in terms of ideal starters. If you consider Oddish as ideal as Vulpix, which typically you kind of did because you just put Floatstone Oddish and retreat it, you have the same number of ideal starters in the deck to the Plume list, but if you're playing Plume, Decidueye, and Vulpix, you have more ideal leads as well, which is important for you. Looks like we're up against some sort of evolution build, so we're definitely going to try and get the... oh, it's going to be Espeon. Now, if the opponent plays Espeon Wob, that is going to be annoying, of course, but we're not item lock at least, so they can't like completely shut us down like they would with other lists. They also have a Rainbow Lele. This looks like a max rarity Espeon Lunala list, which is going to be cool. Oh, don't end us out of this hand, it's beautiful. No, no, no. Please, one time. Ah, nuts. That would have been a great opener. Getting the Dartrix down straight away, getting the Sycamore in there. Sadness. Well, that's even better. So let's just roll with this instead, shall we? Jeez. Okay then. Let's just go nuts. Why not? Now, if the opponent doesn't get Wob in the active here, I'm really happy. Oh, they're playing Espeon Garb with Lunala. That sounds pretty clunky, but sure. That's okay. Psybeam is really annoying for Ninetales, which is something we have to bear in mind. But we're going to get a very nice Shaymin here. A 6-card Shaymin, which is pretty sweet. Actually, it might be a 5-card Shaymin, because I don't really want to commit DCE to the active. Because it doesn't feel like it does much here. Seeing as though he's just going to confuse us anyway. This ping, I think I'll decide later in the turn. I can attach this energy elsewhere. Yeah, putting it on Shaymin is much better now that we have Floatstone. We'll play the male. Level ball is good. Now there's a debate to level balling out a Vulpix here just to have it on the bench, but I still think in this matchup we want to try and be super aggressive with our Rowletts here. And we're not worried about the amount of items that we play. We don't have the option to play around Gardevoir, so we just don't. There's no point in us trying to get a half-baked approach. That will hurt us more than a powerful Gardevoir. The Espeon EX is going to be a card that I do want to bench here, because that is going to be an important card. Although it is weak to Psychic. Do I want to hold this N? Reason being, we're going to get a Sky Return off. Then we can just put down Ninetales. I think that's better. So this turn we're doing 30-50. So then we can go to 70 with the ping. We can actually KO it with Espeon, our own Espeon next turn. Yeah, that's what we're going to try and do. Not going to Lysandre here either, because I don't think it's worthwhile. We'll just Sky Return back into Decidueye. They could well be going for a Divide GX there this turn to try and deal with like Vulpix if it's threatening them, or just the Rowlett for easy prizes. Be interesting to see what they go for here. Here's a Max Elixir. They've got a lot going on in their list. They're playing Lunala, Max Elixir, Gardevoir, Espeon. Crazy. Crazy deck. Crazy dot deck. They do have VS Seeker for that N. They attach to the bench, so we're only getting 60 to the active this turn, which isn't a worry at all for us. We do get rid of our awesome hand, which is sad. Still get a strong hand though. There's Cosmo M. There's another Eevee. 2, 4, 6, 8. Concerned about when to go in with our Espeon. So this is always happening. This is happening. I'm considering whether or not I attach my Grass Energy and cash in on Miraculous Shine this turn. My alternative is to Lele Dig for Sycamore, hit DCE. DCE means I can Ice Blade ping the Trubbish. I feel like I need to deal with Trubbish before I go for the Espeon EX route. So we'll Float Stone this guy because we're imagining that we'll get confused the following turn. And we're going to go for a big Sycamore here. Whiffing DC will be sad. I've already mentioned how important it is for the deck. We do still have all of them in there though. Oh, that's sad. That's really sad. Okay. We can develop Decidueye at least. With ease. We do still have Revitaliser for the third one. I need to clear out some bench space at some point in this deck. In one of our future turns. Do I start pinging Trubbish? I don't think I do. I think I'm going to spread. Pinging once here kind of makes him like evolve into the next Espeon. And I'll also put it here. I think I just retreat into Ninetales. Idea being that next turn we can ping. Even if he does evolve, we can Miraculous Shine. So I don't even need to Ice Blade in the following turns. Alternatively, if he just goes for like Divide or Psychic, we could be in strong shape as well. Looks like they are going to attach and go for the Espeon GX. Man, whiffing DC was rough there. There's an Oranguru and a Sycamore. Could see a Lunala this turn and they could spread some energy around, which would be painful and potentially worrying. Nope, just the Psybeam for 60. So, I think I would rather N here than get rid of all these cards. At the same time, I can't really afford to miss energy at all. So I guess I just won't take. Play this, maybe get a Rescue Stretcher. That's like the only card I want to play here. Nope, nothing helpful. So we're just going to do this. Hope for energy this time. We do hit, which is strong. So this turn we're going to go Feather Arrow here. It's going to be a nice 2-prize turn for us. They're likely to respond with Gardevoir, which is potentially a worry. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Obviously they have weakness on Espeon already, but seems fine for now. It also forces them to have a rare candy for their Lunala, which they didn't have anyway last turn, so. The opponent needs to choose a new active Pokemon, I guess. Yeah, they are just going to go Trubbish. My biggest concern is an N here, I think, more than anything else. There's another Cosmog. Second energy to Lele. There's the Cosmo M again, so they still haven't got their big evolution. And they go for Sycamore instead of N, which is so good for us. I think it's really just the clunk of their deck showing off now. They do find Ultra Ball though, so they're going to grab Garb. As I say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 is 180. They have weakness, but it's irrelevant anyway. With this bench slot, we can actually get a third Decidueye down, and we can KO this Gardevoir with our own Lele. So it's not an issue, which is crazy good. We can Revitalize a Decidueye. We can Ultra Ball for Rowlett. So we're going to get response on this Garb, which is nuts. And then they're sort of out of attackers. They only have their own Lele after that. So that's really good. We're just going to get rid of the other forest because this is already in play. And the Ninetales, we don't need those. Let's grab Rowlett. And start plonking them all down. Pretty nuts here. We can also weave in an N to hurt them. It's very cool. Hope to hurt them at least. So these are all going active, obviously. And we can energy drive to finish it off for the last 60. Gardevoir being the biggest threat on their board, really. They only have 2 energy so far on Lele, so they're doing 2, 4, 6, 80. Maybe with some Lunala shenanigans they can do some more stuff, but right now I'm not too concerned. We see another Elixir whiff. There's a lot of energy in their discard pile, to be fair. Can see a Brock's Grit for their turn. Not expecting to see that card. I wonder if they can get into instruct range to draw any more. I'm going to attach to Oranguru nonetheless to get the instruct in. Oh, they find Eevee. But that's just a free prize for us anyway if we want it. Now, I think I just want to KO the active here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. I think it sounds good. It means they need to evolve Cosmog and Eevee next turn. Their response is Oranguru, which I really don't care about because we'll go into Ninetales anyway. So this is where you just see how much silly damage the deck has just by setting up multiple Decidueye. It's one of the things that you underappreciate when you play the Plume build. You normally just get by with 1 or 2. But in this list, you can expect to get 3 to 4 each turn, each game. And when that's the case, you just have a lot of damage to play with. And Ninetales makes that even more so the case. So that was a nice win. A strange deck, of course. But we did show off Espeon EX doing some sneaky stuff. And Ninetales put a shift in as well. You can see how that would be the plan against Sylveon players overall. And yeah, hopefully that plan goes well in that matchup. Of course, they still sometimes play other Pokemon than just the evolutions, but sometimes they just play 4 Eevees. And if you can just set up a board state where you can win on turn, on like a turn, just by spraying damage and going for Espeon, it can be crazy. Looks like we're up against Greninja. They play Wally, so I'm guessing they also played Tapu Lele. There was a part Psychic in their opening list as well. We lead with our best Pokemon, and we have Lele in hand to grab ourselves like a Sycamore. Not much else going on in the hand, but you can expect to get an attack off with Vulpix in this matchup. Unless they have Wally shenanigans, which they could always have, but Wow, we're getting a lot of mulls, and mulligans equals good for us. We of course hit for weakness against Greninjas with Decidueye, so that is going to be helpful. 4 mulligans, no basic Pokemon, which is a shame. But they're likely to N us, I would imagine. Greninja plays 4 Ns, so they have a fairly high chance of finding it, and of course they have Lele, unless they're desperate to Wally here. But when they go first, there's not much reason to Wally, unless he wants to threaten the KO on Vulpix, which doesn't sound important in the matchup. You see a dive ball, Trainer Smell fails. Maybe looking for N. They have the debate. If they have... Oh, let's go for Sycamore. Okay. Ooh. Awkward start for them. 1 stretcher gone as well as 2 frog pieces. Awkward. Oh my goodness. If we get like... Even level ball's really good here. No dice. Do I want to Sycamore this hand? Don't think I can afford to. Because it's Revitaliser and Stretcher going all at once. So we're actually going to attach to Vulpix. Lele for N here. We don't need to be super fast against this deck. If we just get a couple of Rowletts down, we can Beacon, try and find some Decidueyes for next turn. Ooh, that's really grim. Ninetales is quite good in the matchup, but I'm worried about bench space. Oh well, I guess. Damn, that's really rough. Okay. Let's Beacon. I'm just going double Rowlett here. With no Forest in hand, there's no point hoping to top deck it. Although it would be quite nice. There is a Frogadier. And they also have the basic water energy. Slightly better for us than just the splash. But they are just going to end their turn on the duplicates, as is pretty typical for Greninja players. And the whole gang is there. None of them are prized, which is pretty good news for them. We can go for double Rowlett here. I'm going to attach the grass energy because I feel like that's more important. And we can charge back. We can GX attack to get back special charge if we really have to. But now we're being pretty slow. We want to guarantee a knockout on the active somehow. We do hit... Ah, yeah, we get it. We get it. Nice. Yeah, we got it. Oh, no, we haven't got it. I'm wrong. Because we can't get the Ninetales. We still search out the Decidueye over the Ninetales, I think, because they could Lysandre KO, and that would be more annoying. Alternatively, if we get Ninetales out, they can't really attack. Okay. But at the same time, Beacon is so good for us. Beacon is really, really strong. But I think if they Lysandre... No, I think this is best. I think this is best. Pretty certain this is the best play we can make. We'll do this. We'll ping one of the bench dudes. And again, we'll go for Beacon. We'll do this, just in case they replace Stadium. I don't want to waste another Decidueye when we already have a Stretcher gone. And one in the discard. This is safer. So we're going to see a Dive Ball. One thing you will notice is the Greninja matchup is much closer, whereas if we had Vileplume, it is pretty much an auto-win. I do feel, though, that we are still strong enough against Greninja to not be too concerned about the matchup. They are going to get an Ultra Ball in. People can grab them another Greninja, which they might evolve here to try and stay out of a snipe range. No, they're just going to put on another one. Interesting. They have a Field Blower as well, which gets rid of our Forest, which is cool because we didn't go for that. They only have Sycamore in there, so we get to keep this epic hand, which is good for us. They attach a Splash Energy, so it's likely they're going to Moonlight Slash for the KO here. Rather than try to stitch. Oh, wow, they actually went for stitching. That is pretty crazy. So we get no abilities this turn. KOing Greninja is likely better than sniping a Frogadier. Yeah, definitely better. Definitely better. Wait. We could find Floatstone, so we don't want to retreat first. When we could protect this energy for later. Gonna Sycamore over N here. Still think it's best. We don't need Field Blower. Yeah, we find Float, which is nice. We also find Forest Decidueye. We can't get the ability in, but it's still worth doing this now. I'm actually going to leave the Vulpix as a 60 HP target if he wants to take it at any point, because it's a non-EX that I don't mind getting knocked out. I'm just going to Razor Leaf, get the KO. We've been very slow pressure-wise. Fortunately, Decidueye caps out lower than Decidueye's HP. They can do 120, they can do 230. With Choice Band, Moonlight Slash, Break, they can do 230. So that's good news, at least. So this Decidueye is guaranteeing 2 prizes here. Even if he goes for Shadow Stitch. That is also fine. There is the Choice Band. Attaching it to the active indicates that they only really have 1 break, unless they're trying to play safe and they're going to start digging. It's in Ultra Ball. Yeah, so they could have guaranteed another break. Interesting. Unless he's just going for another Greninja, just a regular one. Potentially they could have awkward prizes with 1 in the discard pile already. Yeah, looks like they're going to fail. That is really grim for them. So they need to try and find another Rescue Stretcher or Super Odd soon. Otherwise they could be in big trouble here. You'll see the Sycamore from the Tapu Lele. See another Field Blower getting rid of Floatstone and likely the Stadium as well. Yep. And a fresh Sycamore for 7. If they find a Splash Energy, they're still pretty okay here. But if they don't find Splash, we could be in great shape. Additionally, if they find Rescue Stretcher, that could be really big for them this turn. We are going to see a Shuriken. It's going to go active, of course. See also a Water Energy get attached, so it looks like that's all they have. Will they go for Moonlight Slash or Stitching? Stitching puts us to 110, which isn't in range of a single Shuriken, so maybe he just goes for Slash here for damage. Yeah, they're going to see the Moonlight Slash. Okay, we do have snipes available to us, which is cool. We're going to start trying to cash in on this Froakie. I think it's the only way we ever get it to work for us. I do want to hit energy this turn. That's something I certainly want. We don't need these cards. I think I can get rid of one Rowlett here. I'm going to try and just thin as much as I can. Get rid of the Espeon EX. It's not important for this matchup, even though it is an evolution deck. We will not get rid of the VS Seeker. That's an important card. And we'll just Sycamore. Hoping to hit some energy here. Oh, whiffing energy again? Seriously, game? Come on now. Rapscallion. Oh, they're actually in a good spot now. That's gross. Okay. Razor Leaf. Sad times for us, but we can manage here. Mainly because of their awkward prizes, I think we're still in decent shape. We know that they don't have any breaks currently, unless they have like super... Okay, they're super odd this turn, so they can potentially get some back. They almost certainly would have played it last turn, even though there was only 2 targets, because it could have got more Shuriken. It could have got more Greninjas down last turn, which seems important. This is a really big turn for them to see how much they can respond on us. We still have forests in the deck on our side, so we're potentially able to get a second, like, re-establish a Decidueye. We already have good pieces in hand. Maybe we get hit with N or Ace Trainer though. Going to be a big turn for them. They're likely to Shuriken maybe this guy, or something like Shaymin maybe, if they have it. Let's see. Yeah, they have N. That seems good here. Oh, there's energy. Ugh, bit late. Late to the party. But hey. They do establish another Greninja. And they're going to see a giant more Shuriken. Where's it going to go? This is an interesting choice from them. It's going to go to Shaymin. Yeah, I like that. It's really aggressive from them. I think they have to be aggressive at this point to keep up. Because we've missed energy drops, it seems good. And because of the choice band, they can just Moonlight Slash as well, which is really strong. We might have to Hollow Hunt here. Which sounds pretty disgusting. But I think we have to. We're kind of falling behind a lot here. Really just down to our lack of attachments. Is N more worthwhile than a Lysandre here? Lysandre means he can only get 1 Shuriken in, which saves us 60 damage. 170. Yeah, I think Lysandre's better. Let's do that. And we're going to Hollow Hunt here. We need the DCE for sure. Maybe it's the Lysandre again. No, VS Seeker. have no Stadium in play, so we can't really go Stadium, Dartrix, Decidueye. I don't think that's strong enough. I think it's DCE, Floatstone, and Lysandre, which is weird, but I think that's what we're going to do. No, VS Seeker is better than Lysandre. Forgot that we played those in the deck. Floatstone may not be good enough. No, Floatstone's not good enough here. Stretcher might be needed. Yeah, I think these are our best calls. We still have Revitaliser for picking up some of these shenanigans. I'm not going to level ball for Rowlett this turn because he can just Shuriken for free, and I would not like that. So, we'll see how they work around this. We've definitely had a few slow turns. Our opening was really terrible. Maybe looking back, you do just Sycamore and out-tempo a Greninja player. But the end itself was fairly unfortunate. No Ultra Balls or even Level Balls or any Rowletts. That's like 12 outs. Oh well. See the attachment to their Lele. We also see a Professor's Letter for a single water energy. And 4 in the discard, so maybe they only play 7 and then 2 or 3 splash. That sounds about right. They're going to play Lysandre now. Bring up our Lele. Oh, maybe Floatstone was right. Oh no. Don't do this. Maybe they just Shuriken KO Lele this turn and put themselves in Shaymin range. Could well be their plan. Oh, they're going to deal with Shaymin this turn. Oh, that makes much more sense. Because now Lele's in Shaymin range and I can't Sky Return Lele. Okay. Problems. Many problems all at once. Really smart play from our opponent. So yeah, they're going to push themselves one Shuriken away from victory. So we're going to level ball, find ourselves around it. Still have 1 forest in deck. We don't have Floatstone in the deck. I think that loses us the game. Pretty certain we can't win the game. Maybe we can pick up Floatstone. Have 25%. Oh, dream big. Dream big. Yeah, we do this. Actually, I should have just held the stretcher. Yeah, I should have held stretcher. Regardless, we're going to Ultra Ball it back away. So now we're praying for N. Oh my god, if we get a Revitaliser off this could be really good. Oh my goodness. N, you hero. So now the plan is get Lele in range for Lysandre to win the game. Can we do that? 60 plus 90? No. Okay. Because we already pinged once on Froakie. But it's just down to win anyway now. They're one Shuriken away / Lysandre energy away from winning. Even though we were super lucky to get a Floatstone off the 4 cards. Let's see if they have it. Greninja notorious for being awkward in the late game. They only have 15 cards in their deck though. The good news is they don't have many physical copies of energy left. I think 6, 7. They maybe have 1 water left because they slashed last turn. Maybe 1 splash left. So it might be awkward for them. Maybe we get there. Who knows? They need energy, VS Seeker, or they need energy break. These are the combos that they need. Oh, just a pass. I think we're in it. I think we might be in it here. As long as we're not really stupid. Which is always a possibility. Not going to commit this energy, because Lysandre can like actually lose us the game if they do it to stall. This is now in range. We keep the Trainer's Mail, because we have VS Seeker to get our last Lysandre. Not that we need it next turn, because we're taking a prize this turn. So they have 1 draw to beat us. Potentially they hit like Sycamore and get there, but let's find out. They promote Greninja. 1 draw from them. Let's see what's happened. Oh, clutched it. Clutched it. I mean, I know this should be a good matchup for us, but the slow start put us really behind against the deck, so we were pretty fortunate there to win out. Nice. Very nice. We'll get 1 more game in, because I like playing this deck, and I'm still undefeated on PTC Joe with it, which is cool. I think it is very strong, and should be a consideration for Birmingham. So, we are up against Ultan Official. And we'll flip the coin. We unfortunately lose the flip. He says hello. Let's say it back. Hey, buddy. And we start Vulpix. Oh, this hand is a dream. This hand is a dream. Don't play N. Why would you play N in this format? On turn 1. Never do that. Okay, we see Mega Gardevoir. Mega Gardevoir isn't the easiest matchup for us, especially now that we don't play Vileplume. But I think it is winnable for sure. This will be close. I can guarantee that. We are going to see the Ultra Ball. Get rid of Sudowoodo, which is cool. Sudowoodo is actually like low-key quite an annoying card to play against. The only thing is, of course, it could be a Lysandre stall for us. So I guess that's why they got rid of it. And they keep their own spaces open for like Hooper, if they can't find Skyfield. Guardy isn't a deck that often ends turn 1. It would have to be a surprising hand for them to end us. They normally play a 1 or 2 count at most. They are going to hit us with the Hex turn 1, which is certainly annoying. We're just going to grab double Rowletts here, I think. In this matchup, Ninetales is really weak, because although they can't one-hit KO us too often, they can get there with Kukui and discarding the whole bench. Maybe that's a bit risky for them. Maybe I do go for second. Vulpix here. I need to have a think. Attacking it in the active is quite bad for us, but it could also be awkward for them. Nah, let's just get more Decidueyes out for now. Or hope to. If we hit a forest here, we could randomly just get one full one down straight away. That's gross. That is so gross. What even is ability lock, huh? Full Decidueye just coming down casually. And we'll end. We get an attachment in as well, which is really important for us. Of course, we are unable to Feather Arrow because of the Hex, so we will end on a beacon here. And a beacon certainly for Rowlett. That's certainly for Dartrix, sorry. But also, what's my second target? I would imagine it's not going to be Ninetales because this is likely to get KO'd. Is it my other Vulpix here? I think it's my other Vulpix. Because Vulpix, Ninetales will be valuable later on, I believe, if I can hold off using Hollow Hunt in the game. And I feel like Hollow Hunt's not hugely important in this matchup. There's nothing resource-wise that's too stringent. So they're going to set up for 2 after getting their Mega Evolution. Attach. Let's see if they can weave in another Hex. That could be awkward. Oh, they have N. That is less awkward. Something Vulpix does sort of force a lot of the time will be Ns, which is one nice thing about it. We hit DCE, which is strong as well. Very nice. So we can do 110 this turn, at least. I'm just going to put Vulpix straight into the hand. Put it back down. The hand size is large, and we're getting rid of all of our Sycamores if we do this. N could be fine here, I think. It's a lot of Sycamores to get rid of. And their hand is kind of large. Ooh, nice. We can guarantee a second Decidueye if I want it. Alternatively, we can start digging harder to get more. We definitely don't need the Vulpix. I think I just Ultra Ball away Vulpix Sycamore. Go for Shaymin. Yeah, I like it. We'll take VS Seeker. VS Seeker's good. It's safer to do it than to not. We'll cash in on some draw, try and find some Dartrix. None of those. Not going to put down the second Shaymin. It's not enough draw to make it worthwhile. Especially because one of Gardevoir's win conditions is just Lysandering Shaymins. So we'll just go for the Razor Leaf here. Annoyingly, it's still 10 damage off the KO if they Hex us next turn. That's why I was really digging for the second Decidueye, to get it guaranteed on lockdown. But now we have issues. Potentially issues. Could be fine. Depends if they can weave in a Hex. Really. If they can like retreat, Mega, oh, the VS Seeker. It's gonna be a Hex here every time. Ah, so awkward. Sadness. It's gonna be Despair Ray as well. 130. There's a Ninetales off the top, which isn't too shabby. I'm going to attach to the bench. Do I want to Sycamore this hand? Yeah, I think it's fine. We can get rid of these. Grab ourselves Dartrix. Grab ourselves Decidueye. Blower. Is Blower good enough here? Just for the float stone? Pretty certain it's not good enough. I'm trying to think if Retreat for Hollow Hunt is good. Almost certainly no. No, it's definitely not good for us. Yeah, we cash in on the damage. The only thing is, if he just attach Spirit Link, Mega, Retreat, clear off the board, we have lost so much damage. The only thing is there's not many good targets. Maybe if there was some Revitaliser, it would be worthwhile. A potential additional play was to retreat into Ninetales and pass, but that feels really, really weak. So we won't go down that route. So the nightmare here is if they can Despair Ray off this Mega. In order to do that, really they need to get another Guardy down. They need to Spirit Link, Mega, attach, and be comfortable with a big discard. And it's not unlikely, but it's a big turn for them if they pull it off. They are going to Ultra Ball here. They haven't used any Hoopers yet. Oh, it's going to be an Oricorio for energy, looks like. The Vital Dance being a very cool option for the new Guardy lists. They do get the attachment. Here's VS Seeker. Oh, they're just going to find Hex. That's not too bad for us. Let's see a Despair Ray. Now then, we have the option to Sky Return or ping with Ninetales here. Sky Return guarantees the KO. Ninetales pinging this is super greed, so we're not going to go for it. I'm going to Sky Return into Ninetales. I think that's our best line here. Especially because we can get Float Stone. I still think keeping the blow is good enough, so we'll hold on to it for now. This hand is pretty weak. Damn it, Field Blower. Nothing really that we can get is there from the Mail. Oh, Mail can get us Revitaliser, I guess. Level Wall is probably good enough for now. Cash in on the forest while it's here. We'll get these easy prizes off the board, retain some energy, throw up the Ninetales, which could be awkward. We have yet to GX attack. They're down to 3 cards. The thing is, Guardy is very, very good at cycling through its deck. As long as you don't hex them, it is very easy to do for them. I'm kind of considering putting a Hex in the list. Greninja, Guardy, Rayquaza, these sorts of things would not appreciate Hex. So potentially, if you're playing a non-Plume build, Hex could be a really valid option. Go more like Yanada's list that he played in Australia. Good food for thought. This is why you stay around and watch the games as I play the deck more. Start thinking about my considerations and where else to go with the deck. Okay, so we can see VS for Sycamore this turn, so we've not been hexed for once, which is great. Let's see if they can have the Wombo combo turn with Skyfield, Dragon Knight, shenanigans, vomiting lots of damage on the board. And even if they want, like, they may not even want to, because if they can't KO Ninetales, they just sort of have to pass. And that could be phenomenal. They do have Dragonite at least. Gonna grab Guardy Shaymin. Seems good, seems good. Gonna see an Ultra Ball as well. Could well be for a Hooper or something similar. Maybe just the Mega straight off the bat. Maybe they Mega for turn without a Spirit Link. Maybe that's their line here. If that's... Oh, they're going to fail search? Maybe just to get more draw off Shaymin. Yeah, that looks like it's the case. There is a Hooper. Doing some scoundrel nonsense. Just going to grab a Shaymin. Interesting. So they have the Mega in hand, it seems. Ooh, Escape Rope is really annoying here. Ah, that's frustrating. Shaymin is going to dig for 2 cards, so they still haven't hit the Spirit Link, so it's still risky from them. Otherwise, they always play the Link down first and Mega Evolve. But wow, Mega for turn. That is so crazy good for us. You do not understand how good that is. Or maybe you do. We are going to put this... into a Razor Leaf knockout range, which is going to be fantastic. We are still not going to field blower. 10, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190. So even Kukui, this survives. If he's Lysandering, he can't Kukui, obviously. So I think my best play is to play as little as possible here. These Lysanders look tempting. Maybe like Lysander this up. He's used a rope and a float. So potentially that's the play. Actually, I might Lysander this. This may be our line. We'll Lysander Dragonite. They've used 2 switch cards. That's typically the ceiling for Mega Guardy. Not going to Ultra Ball to thin. We can just go for this. Oh, they play 3 switch cards. Interesting. So that did not pay off. They also hit Spirit Link. This could have been a turning point in the game. It's a big miss from us. It was kind of greedy. Float and rope had gone, so I felt fairly content, but hey. Gonna get hit for 170 here. I still think we're in a solid position. Like, now we can Lysander again. Alternatively, we just take the KO. Oh, no, we can't KO because we were greedy last turn. We go 40... We do need to dig for energy this turn for certain. So it looks like it's Lele time. Pretty sure Sycamore's the play. We'll replace this. Seems good. Holding blower this whole time. Genius. Absolute wizardry on my part. I'm actually thinking now that I don't want to Sycamore. Just Shaymining is more cards than like N. And I don't deck out this way. So let's do this. Try and hit energy. Okay, energy acquired. It wasn't DCE though. DCE would have been the dream. It does mean we can weave in an N of our own though. So if I set this up for double attack rather than snipe, it. This is weird. I'm going to do it this way around, I think. Set this one up for double attack, I think is better than putting it in double ping range, because this gets knocked out anyway every time. And we only have Revitaliser and no other Pokemon, so this makes much more sense. Another alternate option was to ping once here, once there, to be in Ninetales range for a ping Ninetales KO. We see a rescue stretcher. They're probably just going to go Shaymin or Dragonite or something here to start reloading. Yep, double Shaymin looks to be the play. One concern is that they still have Spirit Links and Mega Turbos in their deck. So they could still burst a Mega Guardia out of nowhere here. Man, my greedy Lysandre was so bad. Sadness. Probably game losing. Like it felt like a win more play. Which is not a play you should go for. 2, 4, 5, 6. Let's see if I can hit Mega plus Energy plus Turbo. There's the nice fighting energy, which people use to cash in on Scorched Earth. There's the second, or is that the third stretcher that they play? No, it's the second. Yeah, they do hit the Mega Turbo. I imagine they won't retreat here. Yeah, they don't. Okay. So this takes 2 prizes. Okay, so he's Lysandre away from game, which is really bad for us. Pretty sure I can't deny it. Let's have a look. Pretty certain I can't. Yeah, there's nothing I can do to deny game here. So if they have Lysandre, they have game, which is pretty horrible. And they almost always do here. Alternatively, I just... Yeah, I guess we do this. This at least forces like the big overload play. Still yet to GX attack. Maybe this works. They've gone through double stretcher 1 Dragonite. So it's probably asking a lot here to get the KO on us. Hexing can still be an issue because we could even deck out here. Although I think we win the game in 3 turns. See an attachment and Mega Turbo. They're just trying to thin as much as possible here. Looks like. See a Lysandre. 2 Decidueye. Let's see the Hooper. Gonna grab Dragonite. Dragonite comes down. Maybe grabbing Lele for like Hex or something. Just double Shaymin. Oh, to end proof, I guess. Perfect numbers on the Decidueye. This is 50 away. There's nothing I can revitalize to win the game. He doesn't know that we've prized our last energy. But that is going to be game. Pretty certain. Let me think if there's any other way here. We have to retreat and then we're out of energy and we lose the game. We don't have enough turns to not take a KO. So then it's going to be drop the well played, and that is it. Damn, our greedy Lysandre was really punishing. I guess I assumed most Guardies only play 2, but that guy played 3. I need to look back at that game and see if I would have won anyway, just by beating down the active. I feel like that really was a punishing turn for me. Well, that was the deck anyway. My first loss of the deck. Sadness. Pretty certain I misplayed as well. Anyway, those are some interesting games. Certainly a worse matchup for this deck if you don't play Vileplume. For those of you who want to see the Plume deck once again, also want to test out, I'm not certain which one I like more right now. Obviously, other people are allowed to set up against you when you don't play the Plume build. But that bench space is used for a free 20 damage every turn with the Decidueye a lot of the time. And having the space to also play Espeon EX, I feel is important. I don't feel like you can weave any more consistency slots out of this deck to fit the Espeon. And your bench space is filled too quickly as well anyway. So it's really rare that you'll be able to pull off the Espeon if you're under your own item lock. So let me know what you think about the archetype. I really do think it is a top tier contender. And I would expect to see it quite a lot around Birmingham. I don't feel like it has too many bad matchups. When you add in the Charge and the Espeon, I feel like you do have ways of beating Sylveon. I feel like you're okay against Volcanion also with the Ninetales additions. And I think it's just really fun to play and very versatile and can just deal good numbers in this format. And that is something that's good enough to win games a lot of the time. So please leave a like to the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. For now though, it has been Joe from Omnipoke, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Cheers.